Hello, hello, it's Shereen. I've forgotten what day this is, but anyway, we're going to call this Don't Expect Everyone to Be on the Same Page. So, if you've heard me talk about some of the steps that you need to take, right? So, you've started learning, reading, just like being more aware and open, and now you're starting to hear things and see things that you're like, oh my God, like this really is a thing. And you're thinking you've gone to your leadership teams, you've had the conversations, and you now recognize that you have to do something. And the do something looks like what are you going to do internally to support your black employees, first off, or your black colleagues? How are you going to commit to the wider world what your stance is on these issues? Because, in the nicest way, I know I would love to believe that that is not a consideration, but many companies right now are thinking, shit, like people are expecting us to say something, so what are we going to say? Because we can't just give like words. We've got to mean something. So what can we say now versus how long do we wait? And if we wait too long, people are going to think that we're not serious, but we are serious, but we don't know what to say. So you're in that mode. The other thing that you also need to be thinking about, and I think your HR teams will be acutely aware of this, is what you do with the rest of your employees, because they too need to understand your stance. And the reason why I say don't expect everyone to be on the same page, because potentially they won't be. So I'll give you a good example. If you can Google the details for this, but I think last week LinkedIn did a town hall where they talked about the importance of diversity and inclusion. Like as I said, please don't put that banner around it, but that's what they chose to do. So that's for them. And anyway, so they had black employees come up on stage, so to speak, and share their stories and experiences all around driving empathy and compassion and just a greater level of awareness and understanding. So kudos for that, because that is important. But what they did not prepare themselves for was the reaction from some of their other employees who basically didn't take to it. So there are employees in your business, let me be clear, they are in your business, who do not agree with Black Lives Matter, who don't understand why everyone's making a fuss about it, who feel resentful about the amount of attention and time this is giving to black people from their senior leadership team. So they're really resentful from that. They also get very excited about the way that the media is reporting something. So they've got nothing to say about black people dying. They've got nothing to say about, black people being harassed and discriminated against and all of that stuff. But they do have plenty to say about whether a statue in Bristol is taken down. They do have plenty to say about Amy Cooper and her dog because they were like, oh my God, but like I know it's bad, but the dog, like, the dog is, we should be really concerned about the dog. So they have plenty to say about anything that's not connected to Black people and their lives. These are the same employees that will not recognise their positions of privilege. In fact, they will rail against anyone saying they are in a position of privilege because guess what? They will tell you how difficult their lives have been. They will tell you they've come from working class families, they have challenges, they have, in some instances, they are underrepresented groups. So why are you not fighting hard for them, even though they're white? Like they have challenges too. Come on, all lives matter. This will be in your business. And you've got to prepare yourself for that because what you can't assume, like I would love to be able to sit here and tell you and be like, yeah, because we're all going to fight the good fight, we're all going to do it together. No, and you only have to listen. Let me tell you a good thing that you can do. So open up a Daily Mail app, the news app. Go to any news articles related to anything to do with Black Lives Matter. Don't read the article because the article is not important. Go to the comments and read the comments. So if you don't want to do that, I'm just going to give you some examples, right? I'm going to use the statute as one example, but I've got others. Let's use the statute as an example. So people have said, oh, I mean, yeah, I know this, fill in the blanks, whoever it is, whichever statue it is, had like, 200, 250 slaves. But you know, he helped build the UK and the economy is like based on, so he did good stuff. So, you know, if those black people, people of colour, the N word asterisked out because the Daily Mail ain't great at filtering out that. So if they don't like it, they can go back to where they came from, right? The Daily Mail even had an article a few days ago where they listed all of the statues that people were objecting to. And the article basically said, I know they did bad things, but they also did good things too. And they went through and they listed all the bad things that they did, which was clearly quite significant, and all the good things. And I mean, literally, it was like the good things is they turned up to the opening of a business or a hospital. I mean, literally. So when you see me get really heated, when you see me challenging people that say, you know, racism doesn't exist, systemic inequalities don't exist, systemic racism doesn't exist, Britain is not racist, you can't tell me that when you see some of these things. So, my point being that the same people who feel that way, that feel like, people who don't like it should go back where they came from, they are in your business. And I can tell you they're in your business because I've worked with some of them in businesses that look exactly like yours. I've worked in the businesses where a director would say, I don't believe in inclusion because, I don't believe in doing anything separate because we have a great culture here. And when challenged, their response is, yeah, but you're just saying that because you're black. I've also worked in other businesses where when they start doing their employer branding stuff and they're very conscious about how white their office is, they dig deep for the black people far flung in all four corners of the world, London. Get them in. Because, gotta look like we're like diverse and multicultural. There are plenty of brands right now, just scroll through LinkedIn, who all of a sudden, right, they've got no black people in their business. It doesn't matter how small, it doesn't matter how small. They've got no black people in their business. But now, because of everything, they're now making sure that they have black people in their branded materials. And I tell you where they use black people in their branded materials. Guess what? When they're doing anything to do with diversity and inclusion, because diversity and inclusion must mean, quick, let me get a black person on the front. Let me get, God, can I find a, where's Unsplashed when I need it? God damn it, I need to get like at least three black people. Is there a picture with like three black people? Can you get, just make it look diverse, right? So that happens. But they don't really mean it because behind the scenes they haven't done any work. Because maybe they don't believe, they don't agree with anything I'm saying, they don't agree with my viewpoint. Now, if you are showing my videos to your people, there are potentially your employees who feel exactly the same way. They don't agree with it either. They think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. So you have to be prepared as a business, and I'm using these as examples. You have to be prepared as a business to recognize that this is what you're gonna find. So the second you start being more overt, and you mean it, so I don't mean when you're doing all of this stuff, you've got to be aware that all your employees are not going to be on the same page. So you have to think about what you do as a business to go and address that. Because how you address that, you've got to almost think it through before you do it because there's consequences of doing two things. So you can either be really like, this is out of order, this is not our values, this is not what we stand for. We stand for our black brothers and sisters. We want to support our black employees, we want to support our colleagues. We're going to make everybody read these books, we're going to provide all these resources, we're going to get people in to come and talk, we're going to do the whole thing to show that we care and support. Okay, so that's everyone's going okay. And then you kind of you see what happens and see how people react. But you have to decide, how are you going to deal with those employees who are not on the same page as you, who do not share the same values as you, who do not believe that black people should be treated equally, who believe that this is a non-conversation. There are people out there who believe this is a non-conversation. So you have to decide how you're going to deal with that, because they exist in your business. They may even exist on your board. They may even exist on your board. So you either make it really difficult for those people to be flushed out. So you force them to do things, you make it compulsory, you make certain things mandatory. You might even decide, I'm not saying do this, I'm just using an example, but you might say, right, you've all got to read this, you've all got to sit through and watch this video, and we're gonna, find a way to like test you or something. Because then you start to see which people like really object towards it. You can see, you can, not literally, but you can tell. Or you push your stance and say, this is what we stand for as a business, and we have zero tolerance approach to racism. We're going to have zero tolerance, zero tolerance, zero tolerance, knowing that the risk of that is that you push it all underground. Because if your employees know that you're going to jump on anybody who expresses anything that can be remotely deemed as ignorant, racist, or discriminatory, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to stay quiet. So then when you're thinking, like we know, that silence therefore means everything is okay, what you have is saboteurs in the ranks who will erode any progress that you genuinely want to make because of the fact they're not on the same page as you. They don't agree with this stuff. They don't like it. They already don't like the fact that they're managed by a black person if you've got a black person in the team. They already don't like the fact that, they've stepped in to a particular department and maybe there's like loads of diverse people and, they don't feel comfortable. So you've got to be honest. Your board of directors have got to be honest. Your line managers have got to be honest. Your HR teams have got to be honest. Not everybody is going to be on the same page, and you have to decide what you're going to do about it. There's no easy answer. I don't have one for you. But this is another thing that I want to mention, because if you are working with D&I consultants and they are not giving you this level of granularity and this level of realness, you will never be in a position to tackle race relations within your business, because this is the nuts and bolts of it. This is one of, like, I got more, but this is one of. I think that's enough for today, isn't it, really?